you ever feel your life is a journey with someone else calling the shots? Maybe you feel like you're just a passenger along for the ride, not really headed where you want to go. Maybe you have no clue where you're headed. Do you sometimes feel like life just happens to me and you don't have any control or say in it? If you answered yes to any of these questions, the Power Zone is for you. Where have you driven your car so far? Have you been driving around in circles? Or maybe your car is parked, just sitting there idling. Did your car crash and your whole life is a wreck? Are you ready to take charge of your direction with power and purpose? To do that, you'll need to learn the rules of the road. Karen Matthews is here at the Power Zone to teach those rules. How fast do you want to go? Are you ready to take charge? Let's go!
Welcome to the Power Zone. I am so happy that you came here with me today. Sometimes I teach about the mind, sometimes I teach about the body, and sometimes the spirit. And today I'm going to do a training on a product that will help this wonderful body. It's a new technology that's available to you now. All right, to start with, I just need to say that since I am not a doctor, and the product I will be teaching about is herbal and botanical. It's made from the wonderful plants that are on this earth. I cannot claim to cure, treat, or prevent any disease, but I do believe that if you give the body what it needs, it has the power to heal itself. So think about if you get a cut, and you can watch that cut right before your eyes magically disappear. And I believe the rest of our body can do that too if we give it what it needs to help it heal. And today I'm going to talk to you about something that will really help it to heal. Okay, but to do that, we have to go back in time, back to biology class. And I can hear some of you are like, oh no, not biology, I hate science. And a few others are going, yippee, I love science. But if you're in the pile that you did not like it and you're like, no, well, I promise I'll try to make it as simple and painless as possible. So let's just jump right in and get started with this. Okay, so to start out, you need to put on some magical glasses that have built-in microscopes, because we are going to zoom way into the skin cells. Well, not just the skin cells, into every cell of your body. And you have over 37 trillion cells. And so just pick one, just one, and zoom right into it with your magical glasses. And we are going to look at the chromosomes. Do you remember those? They're inside the cell nucleus, and inside the chromosomes is the DNA that gives the cells the instructions of what it should do. So if you think about a computer, okay, so the cell's the computer, the DNA is like the program that goes inside the computer and tells the cell what to do. It gives it the instructions, so it tells it what to do. So for example, in your eyes you have the cells, and the DNA will tell your eyes what color to turn. You have ones that will tell your hair what color to turn. You have cells, and the DNA will tell your ears how well you can hear, how tall you're going to get, how broad, what gender, etc. So you understand now. And so to think about that a little bit further, I want to just talk to you a little bit about how the chromosomes work. On the very ends of the chromosomes, they have a tip which is called a telomere. And that might be a word you've never heard of before, because until, about just 12 years ago, telomeres were not a word that you commonly heard. But now it's becoming more and more widely known around the world. So on the ends of each chromosome, there's a tip called the telomere, and we're going to think about it as this little cap on the shoestring. It protects this shoestring so that I can thread this through my shoe easily. But if this cap becomes frayed or damaged, it's really hard for this shoestring to do its job, and the telomeres are the same. Okay, now instead of using the shoelace, I'm going to use these ropes. So this would represent a chromosome that's perfect. The ends or the telomeres are long and they're tight. Okay, so, and the opposite of that one is going to be a chromosome that's got the telomeres are frayed and damaged. They're getting shorter, they're getting worn out. Now, why is this a problem, you might be wondering? It's because the DNA is contained inside this chromosome, and the DNA, remember, is what's giving your body, the cells, the instructions to run it. So if they're damaged, then those cells don't know what to do anymore. Okay, so think of it this way. All right, so let's go with an example with the eyes. Okay, wait a minute. I need to back up just one more thing. Okay. When you are first conceived, you have on the telomeres they are measured by bases, because these things are so tiny they can't measure them with inches or centimeters or anything that big, so they measure them in what's called bases. So when you are very first conceived, your telomeres are 15,000 bases long. Now, while you're in the uterus and becoming this little teeny, the cells that are going to divide and divide and divide and divide until when you are born, you're a fully formed baby. It takes a lot of cell division to do that. And in that process, the telomeres actually shorten 5,000 bases. So when you're born, they are 10,000 bases long. And then you have this process going on. So you start at 10,000 bases, and then you go through this life cycle, and when you get to about 5,000 bases, you die. That's just cell biology. That's just how it works. So you start at 15, here you're at 10. By the time you get here, you're to 5,000 bases. Okay. Let me just give you one more example of how that works. So think of cells just in your eyes. So when you're born, you might have 20/20 vision, and you can see, because I've got glasses, that already mine are not 20/20. And so the telomeres get a little bit shorter, then you need glasses. When they get about 8,000, that process continues, then you need to have the bifocal on the bottom. That process continues, and then you might have to have trifocals. Then if that process keeps continuing, you get macular degeneration, and if it continues, then you go blind, because your eyes, the bases got to 5,000 and the cells die, and then you go blind. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, now there are two ways that the aging process or the shortening of the telomeres happens. I'm going to explain the two different ways. Okay, here's the first way. It's called Basil shortening, and that just happens every second of every minute of every hour of every day, just because you are alive and you woke up on this side of the ground. It just happens just as a process of everyday life. So that's basal shortening, and it just happens because remember, you've got 37 trillion cells and they're dividing and replicating, dividing and replicating, dividing and replicating all your life. So it happens about 1 million cells dividing per second. And so that's just what happens because we are alive and we're breathing. Okay, so that's the first way. And so if you think about a candle as shortening a telomere, let's say that this candle is actually a telomere. We'd have to light that, and the basal shortening starts to make this candle burn down and those telomeres get shorter. Okay, now there is another type of aging, and that type is called accelerated shortening. But the part of this is you are totally in control of what happens, whether it goes really fast or just slow. Okay, so you're asking, so what kinds of things can I do or not do to make it go fast or make it go slow? So what would you think? And I'm sure if you were given a minute to really think, and I wish I could hear you giving your answers because I think you're telling me, okay, 1, tobacco, smoking, alcohol use, poor diet, obesity, lack of exercise. Okay, and here's a great big one that we all have at to some varying degrees is stress. That is a huge one, and that really contributes to this, whether it goes fast or slow. So there's some bad things that happen when telomeres get long or get short, and I just want to read you a list. Oh, and hold on just a minute. Thank you for being patient because I have my list right here. And I want to emphasize this point. This is just a partial list of all the things that happen with shortened telomeres, but I am going to give you this shortened partial list. Okay, when you have short telomeres, it can cause cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis or MS, ALS, dementia, malaria, diabetes, vascular disease, Takahara's disease, Huntington's disease, cardiovascular disease, COPD, degenerative disc disease, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, general immunity problems, skin aging, macular degeneration, liver cirrhosis, muscular dystrophy, cell and tissue transplants, AIDS, oh my goodness, if I can even make my mouth say this one, dyskeratosis congenita, there we go, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, Down syndrome, Fanconi's anemia, tuberosis, sclerosis, Werner syndrome, general aging, and fibromyalgia. Oh, that is a big list. And remember, that's just a partial list. So those are some of the bad things that can happen when your telomeres get short. Okay, so we talked about how the basal shortening, it's like lighting this candle from this end, and then you've got accelerated aging, so we have to light it from this end too. So this candle is burning from both ends. And you guys, some of you are doing the lifestyle, making the lifestyle choices that are hurting you. It's like you're taking this blowtorch and you're just burning this, and so you're self-destructing. Don't do that. I love you guys. You're my friends. You're my family. I want to help you. And there's a commandment that says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Well, there's that part in there that you need to love yourself. So be kind to yourself. Okay, now there's been an incredible research that has been done, and this research, just so you know, there's $40 million worth of research put into this, and that was the amount that was spent as of a year and a half ago, so in around August of 2014. So I'm sure that amount is much higher now. I'm guessing it's about 50 million, but I don't have an exact figure. So just know that this research is ongoing and it's getting more and more information. And so what I am going to share with you, there is so much that I'm just going to share just this little part, or would be here all day and all night and on and on and on. So just so you know, if I don't give you quite as much information as what you would like, there's plenty more out there and I can direct you to that. So just remember that. Okay, so now we need to go back a little bit. There was a discovery made about an enzyme called telomerase. It's in your body. Everybody's body makes this telomerase enzyme. And what its job is to keep those telomeres long and tight. Okay, and what this huge discovery was, if they discovered that a baby is very benefited by this telomerase enzyme, because when the baby is conceived, it gets genetic material from dad, it gets genetic material from mom. Okay, and let's say dad is 24 years old, okay? So he gives this 24-year-old genetic material, that's his donation. Mom is 20 years old, and so she gives this 20-year-old genetic material. Okay, so what if we average out the 24 and the 20 and we say, okay, the average should be 22 years old, and so this baby should be 22 years old when it's born. Oh, that is just freaky. Why? You're wondering, why on earth would that happen? Well, and why doesn't it happen? I hope I've got your head just spinning a little bit, trying to wrap your head around, well, why isn't it? Because the genetic material was from a 24 and a 20-year-old, but yet this baby's young. Okay, the reason is inside the reproductive system, they discovered telomerase. And telomerase is an enzyme that keeps those cells young, and so the baby is born young, and so we have this world that just works the way we're used to, and it's not weird. That would be so weird if the babies were born old, don't you think? Okay, so what they're the research, what they're trying to do is take that telomerase enzyme that's already in the reproductive system and make it go throughout the whole body. Okay, so wrap your head around that one. That is dang cool stuff. Okay, now there was a gentleman, and his name is Dr. Bill Andrews. He works in Sparks, Nevada for Sierra Sciences, and he was able to take skin cells and put them in a petri dish, and with some chemical compounds, he was able to keep the skin cells in a petri dish immortal. So do you get that? The skin cells didn't die. That is so cool. Oh, and I need to back up just a little bit and tell you about Dr. Bill. So Dr. Bill, during his whole life, his goal was to cure cancer. And in all his research, he discovered that everybody that had cancer also has short telomeres. And so he realized to be able to first cure cancer, he's going to have to cure aging. So that's why he was working on the skin cells, putting them in the petri dish. So, and he was able to do that, and Harvard got wind of his research and they got so excited. They conducted their own study on some mice. And I would like to play a little video clip right now of Diane Sawyer summing up this research. So listen to this little video clip.
And now, eternal youth. Is it in a cage around the corner? News tonight of a breakthrough for some pioneering mice. But we always wonder, what does a fountain of youth for rodents reveal for humans? Here's Sharon Alfonsi reporting.
I feel tremendous.
In the movie Cocoon, it's a swimming pool that turns back the clock for a group of senior citizens. But now researchers have found a way not just to stop, but reverse the aging process. The key is something called a telomere. We all have them. They're the tips or caps of your chromosome, seen here in yellow. This is what it looks like in a young adult. But as you grow older, the telomeres become damaged and frayed, and as they stop working, we start aging, experiencing things like hearing and memory loss. Scientists took mice who were prematurely aged, added an enzyme, and essentially turned their telomeres back on. You can see it before the enzyme, after.
Their brain function improved, their fertility was restored. It was a remarkable reversal of the aging process.
Look at this picture. The mouse on the right has bad skin, gray hair, and is balding. But the one on the left had its telomeres flipped back on.
And you could see that essentially you now have a dark coat color, that the hair is restored, that the coat has a nice healthy sheen to it.
Even more dramatic, the change in brain size. This is before. The mice had 75% of a normal brain, like a patient with severe Alzheimer's. But after the telomeres were reactivated, the brain returns to normal size. As for humans, while it is just one factor, scientists now say by looking at our blood cells and measuring those telomeres, you can get a better idea of how well you'll age. The longer the telomere, the better the chances for a more graceful aging. But as for tinkering with them and turning back our aging process, researchers say we still have a long way to go. Sharon Alfonsi, ABC News, New York.
Okay, so did you catch it? In with the mice, they were able to take those aged mice and restore their hair because they were balding and graying, and their hair color was restored. The balding spots grew back in, the brain function came back, and they were able to start reproducing again. So you guys, that was a huge thing. The only thing was that there was a problem. The chemicals that they did that helped the mice were too toxic for humans, so we cannot ingest those chemicals. They're just not safe. And so Bill Andrews at his laboratory, he tested over 300,000 compounds. And some of these were plants, but mostly they were chemicals because Bill is a biochemist and chemicals are his world. And so he mostly focuses on chemicals. He even told me that he was the one that first made a prescription drug for MS. That's his world, is formulating prescriptions, former to this endeavor that he's involved in now. And so he kept trying and trying and trying, and he was able to find some compounds that worked, that helped with keeping those telomeres long. It was making the telomerase enzyme express itself, but they were still too toxic to humans. So, okay, so imagine Bill's over here in his lab doing his thing, testing all these compounds, and while he's over here doing his thing, another gentleman is in a whole nother sector of the world, and his name is John Anderson. And John is a master formulator. He has formulated for over 600 companies, over 2,000 products. Do you think he might know a little bit about formulating? And the thing that I love about John, he likes to take all natural, organic, everything that are these plants. He takes these plants and he might just take this part from this plant and this part from this plant and so on and so on. And he takes them and he formulates. He knows exactly how to make these compounds. And so Bill and John meet, and John's like, I think I can give you some compounds that will help with your journey to keep these telomeres long and express that telomerase. And Bill's like, okay, well, maybe. And John sends over 15 samples for Bill to test. And remember, Bill had tested over 300,000 before, and John sends over 15, and one of those gets a hit, meaning it did what it was supposed to do. And Bill's like, no way. That was just luck. No way could he do that. So John sends over another 15 samples, gets another hit. And Bill's like, what are you doing over there? He could not believe it, especially since he had tried to do the same thing with some plants, and that's what John's doing, but Bill wasn't able to get the results that John does. But John, with his formulating skills, was able to do that. Okay, so fast forward, they were able to come up with enough compounds that they made this product. This is called Product B isogenesis, and this is the product that I was telling you about. It's got more than $40 million of research gone into testing all those compounds and whatnot. And here's the great thing, it is so safe. It doesn't even have a child-proof lid on it. It's just got a regular lid, and it's made from all these great plants and botanicals, and it's just pills. So it's so easy to take. You don't have to make a lifestyle change, and you just take them in the morning and in the night, and then you know that they're all natural, they're all herbal, they're botanicals. Okay, and there's something else I didn't tell you about these either. The University of Arizona took these pills and did some clinical trials with them. And what they found was that those pills increase the catalase enzyme by 31%. And you're like, oh, another one, another enzyme. Okay, catalase. What's catalase? Okay, I'm going to explain catalase. Catalase is like a vacuum inside your body. It goes around and it cleans out all your cells. It gets all the gunk out. It's to help get rid of, one of the main things is hydrogen peroxide. And that hydrogen peroxide just comes as a normal byproduct of some of your cell functions. But if you get too much hydrogen peroxide, it can actually be toxic. And to demonstrate this, I'll just tell you a little story. My son and his wife came over to our house and they brought their dogs, and I had some mouse bait out because we had a lot of problems with mice, and one of their dogs ate the whole thing of the mouse bait. Okay, obviously if that's going to poison a mouse, it's going to poison a dog, especially eating the whole chunk. And so they wanted their dog to get rid of the poison, so they gave the dog hydrogen peroxide to induce vomiting. So even dogs know that too much hydrogen peroxide is not good for me, and I've got to get rid of that. So that's what the catalase's job is in your body, to get rid of the hydrogen peroxide. But there's a problem. As you age, your ability to make that catalase decreases. Just like your ability to make the hormones decreases as you age, it happens with the catalase too. And so then we're not able to clean out as much gunk out of our body, and those free radicals are in there just doing their damage, doing the causing oxidative stress. And so it's really, really important to get rid of those toxins in our body. So the catalase, for it to be increased 31% was huge. So that in and of itself is a great reason to take this product. But there's more. It gets better than that. Okay, let's go back to the candle. Remember how I talked about there's Basil Shortening and Accelerated? Okay, so what you can do to take care of the accelerated, you can exercise, you can get plenty of water to flush your body out and stay hydrated. You can get enough rest, like your 7 hours a night. You can try to control your stress via yoga and exercise or meditation, or taking a bath in all these bubbly baths and the calming music, whatever works for you to get your stress under control. You can abstain from alcohol, you can abstain from tobacco, all these things. But here's the thing, you can drink green smoothies or whatever all day long, and you can help with the accelerated shortening so that it helps with this end, burning it at this end. But there's only one thing that helps with the basal shortening, and that's this product. How do I know that? Because every time a company claims that they have a product that helps support telomeres, it's taken to the lab, it's tested, and they can prove whether it does or does not. And this is the only product on the face of the planet that helps with the basal shortening. So do you hear that, you guys? All the essential oils and all those other things, and I know a lot of products that really help with that accelerated shortening, but this is the only one that helps with the basal. Period. End of story. Okay, so you're saying, all right, well then what I want to know now is, how do I get it and how much does it cost? Well, everybody is going to want to know that. There is a product that it's good, but it doesn't even do near what this one does. Okay, so if you think of this as a race, and this product is out in the race, out way in the lead, almost to the finish line, while all the other products, they haven't even got out of the start gate yet. They're claiming that they are, but when they're tested, no, it's not true. So don't be duped into thinking that you're getting something that is working on all of this when you're really not. Okay, but anyway, this other product that I was telling you about, that it is helpful for the accelerated part of the aging, it costs $1,500 for a month's supply. Okay, $1,500, and it doesn't do near what this one does. This one costs, are you ready? Drum roll, $79 for a 30-day supply, plus shipping and handling and taxes, and also that's at wholesale, which I can help you set up a wholesale account. And excuse me, if you buy it in quantities of more than one, the price drops even more than $79. So good to know? I think so. So my goal is to help as many of you with your mind, body, and soul as possible. If this sounds good to you, then please get back to me, and I will put my email address, and you can email me, you can call me, or if somebody else sent you here besides me, please get back to that person and let them help you get started. I want to help you with your health. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the Power Zone for this training on your body. Thank you. Goodbye.